and DID. Welcome to D&D and DID, or DID and D&D. Which way around is it? Doesn't matter which way around it is. I'm here again with Cat Tulip. It's DID and D&D, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, doesn't matter. We can't remember the name
tell
of the
us
show.
what it is. You know, that'd be great.
It's really hot here in the UK at the minute, and we're suffering greatly.
And I'm in the small bedroom with the door shut so that I don't have sound. Minimal windows open so I don't have traffic sounds. So I'm very hot.
Yeah. All fans are turned off, so we're sweltering and melting.
Just for you guys.
As you can see. So for those who don't know, I am Danny. I am back. It's nice to see you all. Sorry I wasn't here last time, but it was kind of a good thing because you all got to meet Anita. So, Kat, what have you learned so far? Because we've kind of done me, then me and Luna, then Anita, and now we're back to me. So, what's it like?
Okay, so obviously, me and Anita discussed this at the end of the last video, and obviously me and you have discussed this a bit. And actually, because Anita asked me, she wanted to, because obviously a lot of the questions have been me asking you stuff, she wanted to ask me what my experience had been so far. And actually after we talked about that, I'll be honest, I've thought a lot about this for the last couple of weeks. Because, and it sounds really silly because I obviously went into this knowing that you had alters and they might at some point come out and have a conversation. But it's really interesting now, the reality of what that actually means. We've discussed this, that her references were so different to yours. And it was that moment. And she was like, Danny won't understand these. And then you messaged me and was like, I don't understand them. And because obviously we were talking about it, what was quite interesting is that, so for those who obviously watched last recording and saw that it was Anita had messaged me and said beforehand, by the way, it's Anita, just so you know. And me and Danny were talking about how the fact that if she hadn't have said it, I'd have just probably been, oh, you know, having a bit of a shit day, maybe, you know, you could have passed that off as having a bit of a shit day. And without the server reference and the hacking reference, it could have easily been you. But because she was willing to show it was her, she made those references and made it very clear that she understood that Danny, that you wouldn't get them. Also because it was the first time I really appreciated, even though again, like a lot of this, we've talked about this, and we've talked about this before we started this project, and we've talked about it a ton on this project. But it's the different knowledges that everybody has. And then having a conversation with your face, but has different knowledge to you, and has a different, because Anita has a very specific function and role in the system. And she has when she explained it as the hacker kind of reaching into everything, I was like, I've got this perfect vision. It was so brilliant way to sum up her sort of function, but so nothing that you would ever say.
No, I like my spaceship reference.
Yeah. Well, this is what was really interesting because and one of the things at some point I do kind of want to get as much as possible, if and when the alters do present themselves, ask them from their point of view, because it was so interesting having the same thing in essence explained by the same face but in two very different ways.
It's got to be surreal.
But also it felt really natural in a lot of ways. Like, don't get me wrong, it's so far, I mean, obviously the alters I've met have been willing to be like, hey, it's me, by the way. Okay, Anita would be not so, hey.
Yeah, she'd be like, yeah, all right.
yeah, I'm here, right. Just gonna have some tea. Some computer. Oh, see, I just completely lost my train of thought. But yeah, it's been like I said, surreal, but actually very, very smooth, like very natural. Like it hasn't been at any point I've kind of been like, oh, this is a bit weird, I'm talking to, because there is something, and I suppose maybe it's different because I knew I was speaking to an alter, but I didn't, like I said, it didn't feel unnatural.
That's good, because I have to wonder what it's like for people if they, because it's not something that you do every day. You know, you don't always speak to someone that you're like, okay, you're a whole person in yourself, but you're not the person who I know.
Yeah.
And it's strange, and people are like, how can you have this disorder and people not know about it? And that essentially is, I mean, you've now seen a whole video. Kat has had a full conversation with an alter entirely fronting in my body on her own. You know, I wasn't there at all, and it could easily be mistaken as mean a bad day. She can choose what to say and not say to you, which is why people with this disorder can blend in so beautifully. You won't know unless they want you to know.
Well, it's like we're saying, because obviously Anita had finally confirmed what we believed, which is that I'd met you, Luna, and Anita when we went to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Because you thought that was it, but you weren't 100% sure. But Anita was like, yeah, that was me. And obviously we were just talking before we started recording this, but we both said we wanted to do this again on the recording, that I think I know, I think it was Luna, because you said, and that's partly because you said when you came down the stairs, you don't really remember coming down the stairs.
Yeah.
So I think it was Luna on the train, but I wouldn't be able to tell you throughout the day which one was, where was you, where was Luna, and where was Anita.
Oh, okay.
Because at the time, you were all presenting as Danny. So there's the choice.
Maybe. Because I'm planning on making it to Dragon Meet. So maybe we'll hang out with you all day at Dragon Meet.
And then I can see.
You can see throughout the day if you can pinpoint who you're talking to.
Because obviously we were talking about how at the time at Comic-Con you were still presenting totally as Danny in each alter state.
Yeah.
And therefore it's just the choice on what they say, and in actually realizing, we talked about realizing, you know, that fact that they are all so good at understanding what it is to be Danny, that they can be Danny. And it was only because, to be fair, when you switched to Luna, she was like, hey, it's Luna.
Yeah.
So then I was like, all right. And then because you had been told, you can start to see those differences.
Yeah.
And it's now only, you know, had she not said it was Anita, I'd have just been like, I don't even know. But now we talk about obviously the mannerisms and how that Anita doesn't move very much.
No. She tends to stay really still and very relaxed, whereas I'm a fidget. I will constantly shuffle and change body positions, and even now I'm wiggling my feet and I've got my dice that I'm messing with because I like to fidget and move around. Luna will always be doing something with my hair.
She's just very cool. And what was interesting, actually, this is something that I haven't said to you off the recording. It's something I thought about. I actually discussed with my other half. So, you know, when you think about people, you have, or I do at least, I have a sort of an image in my head of them, which is a blend of kind of references I know. So, you know, things I focus on. So, like when I think about you, I think a lot more about that sort of geeky side of things. And obviously your bright coloured tattoos and your hair is quite colourful. But talking to Anita, when I think about Anita, what she sums up, even though in essence there's still all the colour there, and obviously she summed it up with the word she said when she talks about hacker, was I was like, yeah, do you know what? That's what you sum up in my mind, that image of just even with the way she like held herself, I was like, yeah, I can see you as the hacker kid.
Yeah.
But it's not, when I think about Danny, anything that I would ever think, but I have actually in my head, when I think about Anita, when I'm not looking at you, And because obviously Anita, I think I can do this more with, because I've had a very, very strong conversation with her fully as herself, rather than a switch halfway through.
Yeah.
I don't see Danny. I see the essence that she brings up.
Wonderful. Oh, that's brilliant. Because I was curious if people did that, because I've now got to a stage with one of the systems on one of the other YouTube channels on Dissociative. One of her protectors is a male alter called Kyle. And whenever he's fronting, she can take a photo of herself, and you can tell just from the different pictures which alter's fronting. And it's not like her face or her body changes, but you can have a look and say, yeah, that's definitely Chloe, that's Kyle, that's got to be Nadia, this is Sally. And it's just because you've watched them so much on the video streams, I don't know if it's just the way they hold their body, or if it's just because she has tried to show pictures and drawings of what they look like to her and how they want to represent themselves. It's like your mind, when you know you're talking to that one, automatically just deletes what's in front of you and puts a new picture there. And I'm so happy that's happened for you.
So, and obviously I hadn't really thought about it that much, although I do have different thoughts when I think about Luna, because obviously she is very excitable and there's lots of sparkles when I think about Luna.
Yeah.
Because Anita had said it was Anita before we started recording, we had a very open conversation from her point of view, with her talking fully as herself.
Yeah.
Every time I think about her, I guess when you talk to people and then when you have that image in your head, it's that essence of who they come across as.
Yeah.
And it's different to you.
Yeah.
She's really lovely. You're both just as lovely as each other.
Oh yeah, it's I never take it personally. We're different people. And it's nice that you can see that. And hopefully as you start to meet the others, and I can start describing them more for you, because with the alters that we're going to do, so people on the stream know, is there are 5 main alters that run and front regularly. So we've done Luna already, we've done Anita, there's me obviously. There is Danielle, which is my real name, who is my work alter. There's Faith and the Scarlet. So there's me and the 5 alters. And they're the ones that you're most likely to see in front. Danielle, because she's very much the work one, she probably won't front, so it'll be me explaining all that to you. And then I have my passive alters, which are the ones that stay inside, that can passively influence, but rarely actually come to the front. So you're probably not going to be able to meet them. But when you get the hang of meeting, particularly Anita, Luna, and Scarlet, they're the ones that will kind of filter around. And Scarlet particularly has got to the point, because she's the bitchy, sarcastic one that lives in my head. And Anita's sarcastic, but when Anita's sarcastic, it's very monotone. Whereas Anita does it generally angrily, or in some kind of, not sinister, but some kind of, she'll make a little passive aggressive remark. And sometimes I'll be talking to people and they'll say something, and the first thing out my mouth is this comment, and I'll be like, whoa. And it will surprise me. Yeah. It's that classic moment of did I just say that out loud? And it won't be my voice. Sometimes it is my voice. But my close friends now will look at me and they're like, shut up, Scarlet. And they'll be having like conversations with her through me, which is very strange that we can do that now. So hopefully you can get to the stage, maybe by Dragon Meet, so November, we've got a couple of months, where you might be able to pick up on the subtle differences between each one.
We'll see what happens, because it has. And actually, it's been quite interesting that the 3 I'd met so far, with the 3 I'd originally met, and being able to be like, I didn't really notice that, and obviously now having them be like, this is me, like being able to, it'd be interesting to be able to see if I get more of that, more able to pick it out, because I know what I'm looking for.
And more if they will actually come out and acknowledge themselves to you just to say hi.
Because, like, obviously when we first started, you were like, I have no idea who's going to be comfortable in this. Could just be me the whole time talking about them.
Yeah.
Right. So, before we talk about Danielle,
Okay.
I was going to ask you a question. Actually, I'm going to ask you a question that we were asked from Twitter. So, yay! Thank you. To Hanno, because, you know, we do love you. Thank you. And we do really, we're really interested to see people's thoughts and stuff. So he'd said that we'd talked about alters and their different relationships with people. And that was the question he was going to ask. And you asked if we'd answered it. And his question back was, you definitely made a start. I would like to know more about how alters perceive acquaintances and how often an alter dislikes someone another considers a friend. And we did agree this was a fascinating question, and we were going to cover this a bit.
Yeah, so it's rare that we will have different relationships like that with friends. Usually all the friends that we have, everyone likes and gets on with, but the relationships between them are different. So if I'm around, the activities that we will do will be different than if Luna's around. So quite often, if everyone kind of wants to go outside and be social, they know to expect either Luna or Scarlett, depending on where we're going. If we're going out for like food and drinks and cocktail type things, you're gonna get a Luna. If we're going out to more of like the gothy rocky metal nights, you're gonna get Scarlett. One of my friends loves to rant, and he's very sarcastic and just not an angry person, but she gets annoyed a lot and loves to vent. Scarlett loves to vent, and she loves a good bitch fest. And so when she's around, it's a very different relationship.
Yeah.
The only time there's been conflicts would be in actual personal relationships. So it'll be with a boyfriend or an ex-boyfriend, where one of the alters, it's usually Scarlett or Anita because they're the protectors. Scarlett never used to be, but we'll discuss that on her time. Mm-hmm. Where they'll notice inconsistencies in people's behaviour. So either they're lying, or they're not following through on actions, or they're being disrespectful. And it's stuff where I give everyone the benefit of the doubt, because I'm very psychologically trained. So I'm that person where I can't stay mad at someone because I understand everyone's point of view. So yeah, I tend to just be, oh, okay, it's water under the bridge. Let's not worry about it. Luna thinks the best of everyone all the time and is very naive. So you get that conflict. So I'm never really sure with people if, oh, I'm just overreacting. So it never really comes to the front, and it will hit a point where I will go, they'll come back, and they'll have an argument on my behalf with a partner, which has happened in the past. And with my ex-partner, that would happen on a cycle. So there would be an argument, or well, not like a shouty argument, there'd be a discussion about a problem. We would try and find a solution to rectify it and be like, okay, everything's fine. The problem would still be there, and what was said wouldn't be happening, and we'd bring it up again because the others could see. So it's that kind of thing. Whereas in our current relationship, we all adore our current partner, but in very different ways. So it's really sweet. It's like Luna is just absolutely head over heels, just yay, and so snuggly and cuddly and affectionate. I adore him, obviously, and he's really geeky, and he's a GM as well. He GMs loads of games, and he goes to like student roleplay nationals and plays Warhammer and all the other stuff. So we get lots of geekiness out of it. Him and Anita like to chill out, so they will just sit out, and he'll get his ass kicked on video games by Anita. And if Scarlett comes out, she leaves very, very quickly because she doesn't do emotions or affection. So she's like, whoa, there's feelings here, and she just goes back.
She's like, no, do you know what? Someone else can have this one.
It's like at first he met her a couple of times, and then when it kind of clicked in that, whoa, this is like an actual relationship, those feelings, she went, and she's like, nope, I'm not coming out around him anymore. Which was just like the sweetest thing. So we do all have very different relationships with different people.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question, Hannah. If not, message and ask another one, or ask for the clarification.
Yeah. If there's anything we say that you think half answers the question you want to clarify, obviously by all means just let us know. We're happy to answer most things.
Yeah.
Because like you said, obviously you all have a different relationship, but it's the same relationship with the same person, but a different relationship as well.
So it's like people will have like loving relationships with some of us, others will have very hands-off relationships. And as you've met Anita now, I'm assuming Anita gave you the impression she's not a very touchy-feely person.
No, I can imagine largely there's just a lot of like, I'm going to sit here and game and you sit there and game.
Yeah, it's very much if she's out, there are no cuddles, there's no touching of any kind, because she's not a tactile person at all. Whereas Luna's over the top affectionate and like cuddle me all the time, whereas I'm a nice middle ground.
But I suppose depending, he's got a variety of potential leavings.
At the same time, bless him, he's got like multiple people to.
He's technically got several girlfriends.
Yeah, basically, yeah. He's in a poly relationship with one body.
So, and I suspect that it's either for those that come out, so like you, Luna, and Anita, it's in essence he's having almost, like I said, a relationship with.
Yeah.
But then if they're not there, then they're just not there. So yeah.
They're just not there. Yeah. Because we all kind of had that awareness. We're all aware with him, and he's kind of now starting to develop different relationships with each of us, and we're often quite blended. So today's a bit of a blended day where you're talking to me, but there's a few others here. So you the only way is just when you imagine that spaceship reference that I went to, is if you imagine that spaceship has just like a giant table in the middle of it, and everyone's sat around the table. It's like some people are kind of colouring and drawing, others are watching something, so everyone can hear what's going on, but they're not always paying attention.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is at the minute.
Yeah.
And he's starting to pick up on the different relationships. So he's starting to pick up that actually this one's quite a worrier, and when I'm feeling really, really anxious and very kind of, oh my God, like, is this happening? He can just go, breathe. It's fine. It's like, this isn't you. It's like, this is that person that's worrying about this because of this. And I'm like, yes, that's a really good point. It's like, you are not this worried about this. I'm like, no, I'm really not. Thank you.
But I suppose, and obviously we've talked a little bit about this and about obviously some of this, and obviously your early videos were exploring your journey through dissociative identity disorder and your understanding of it. And one of the reasons we wanted to do this was because you were like, actually be quite interesting to talk to someone else and do the exploring videos that you were doing, but actually have someone else to
bounce off.
Yeah. I guess in a lot of ways that because you've got a much better understanding, and obviously there are still probably difficult days, and
oh gosh, yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like to have that many potential people in my vicinity, in my head. Yeah. But you've obviously come to sort of a place where you've got a better understanding, and you're beginning to yourself pick up more and more. And you've said before, more and more when those switches happen and when they're blended, and you have a bit more of a kind of a communication to a degree between yourselves within the collective. But I guess that then is more helpful for relationships, because you're able to potentially navigate those minefields where before it would have been not you saying these things but someone else, and then not being able to explain that, whereas obviously he's very aware of the fact that might not be a Danny thing that's coming out right now.
Yeah.
But because he understands it, he's probably better at thinking about those pitfalls that might set Scarlett off or Anita off.
Yeah. he's far better at picking up on potential triggers than I am. And he will spot it a lot faster than I will some of the times if I'm starting to kind of dissociate or just not really here. He will automatically just like touch me or kind of squeeze my hand or do something just to ground me, like bring me back into the room. And I'm like, what was I going? Sorry. And he's like, it's okay, it's fine. Or if I kind of do something, he can pick up on it. And the same with a few of my friends now. They've started to realize it. And it's nice that they're all able to do that. And it's nice for me to know that once the awareness kind of kicks in and you're aware that these thoughts that you have in your head, because they're not voices, just to point it out to people, they're not like auditory hallucinations, they're thoughts that I hear. So everyone has their inner thoughts, everyone has their inner monologue. I have an inner polylogue, but the thoughts aren't in my voice. There's one in my voice, there's in the voices of everyone else, but they can talk over each other. So it's not that racing thoughts that you get when you're panicking or you've got anxiety where it's one thought after another. It's overlapping. They can talk over each other at the same time, which is very annoying. But it's nice that I can now take a step back and go, actually, that isn't my feeling. Or when I say something or write something, I'm like, that's not something that I would say. Whereas previously, it was almost like I would message or call someone, and I remember speaking to it, and they were like, it's essentially like someone had picked up your phone and sent me a message. It's like, you didn't write the message, but it came from your phone. So when I read it, I assume automatically that it is from you and that is how you feel.
Yeah.
Whereas now everyone knows when they get a message from me, it might not be me that they've got the message from, and they've got to figure out which me it is, or just ask, which a lot of people are now very welcome to do. It's like, who am I talking to right now? And I'll be like, oh, this person, or I don't know. It's a very mixed day. I don't know who I am right now.
Well, I know a couple of times when we've messaged and you've said you're having quite a blended day.
Yeah.
Whereas other times when you've clearly been, and sometimes it's your references.
Okay.
If you talk about anything, like if you talk about yourself and reference yourself being geeky, a couple of times when you sort of send a message, oh, because me and Luna are geeky, and I'm like, well, this must be Danny then.
Yeah.
By process of elimination, then it can only be Danny I'm talking to.
Yeah, by the words that I use. I did another unboxing video of the stuff my alters buy me, because I got a bunch of stuff, and I listened to that back, and I rarely use the word wonderful. I rarely go, isn't that wonderful? That's not something that will come out of my mouth. I say it on my video, because there's like a mini switch partway through and Faith comes out, and it's rare that she comes out, so that was quite nice. But to watch it back, and I was watching it with a friend, and we said wonderful, and both kind of went,
yeah, even when you just said that word. Now, I was like, it just doesn't feel comfortable. I don't think I've spoken to you pretty much every 2 weeks for the last, I don't know, couple of months now.
A few months, yeah.
And I've never heard you say, well, even I was a bit like, I'm gonna have to go and watch
wonderful
that
isn't one of the things that will come straight out of, it's not a word that is in my everyday vocabulary, especially when I'm opening stuff. That's nice, cool, awesome, sweet. They're things that will come out of more regularly between me and whoever's around. Isn't that wonderful? Is not one that will come out. So that one's coming out tomorrow or the day after once I finish uploading it.
I'll keep an eye out for that one. And by the time this comes out, that will already be out. So if
it will. So
this,
go back and watch
that. Go back and watch it.
And then you get to meet Faith, who is coming out on one of the videos next time or the one after.
Yeah. And if you've not watched any of them anyway and you're watching this, I would actually recommend watching the What My Alters Buy Me, because it's something that we've talked about quite a bit. It's fascinating, the fact that you literally are opening these things going, I have no idea what I'm meant to do with this. It was when you got the little flower pots,
yes,
and the tubes.
Yes.
And you were like, I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody has decided that these are.
Oh, wait till you see this one. I opened one of them and I'm like sat there just going, I don't know. Like, I've now figured out why I have that stuff, and we're working on something.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to show you what we're working on.
This is an exclusive.
It is.
Or it might get cut out. Who knows? I
got a bunch of stuff through and was like, whoa! Got it. Don't bounce on the bed. You're going to get a really good boob shot now. Don't fall off my bed. You fell off.
Oh.
Are you back?
I'm back.
Is everything... Oh, it's still recording. That's cool.
Yeah, it's still recording. Everything's fine. We can just edit that out.
I'll cut that out. So, you know how I make dragons?
Yes.
So, we decided to change it up a little bit. And I've not finished painting his feet yet.
That is so cool.
He's opposable.
That is awesome.
So I can, like, got a little tail.
Oh my god, that is amazing. It's got the derpiest face ever.
Look at his face.
It's so derpy. It's amazing.
So, I accidentally triggered myself when I was making this because it was so cute. I started messing around with it, and then Skittle came out, my little, and I was like, oh, damn it.
I can't.
It's like I triggered myself with a toy. So that's the recent creation. But we're currently making one of these. He's in the oven, so I can't show you what he's like at the minute. And imagine this, but it's an owl bear. That's going next. He's in the oven baking.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
He's going to be a snowy owl bear.
Oh, awesome. I look forward to seeing pictures of that.
So they'll be, look at his little feet.
Oh, the feet. So just wanna do this. Tickle his feet.
So yeah. So yeah, that happens. So when you watch the unboxing video, you'll see me just open these bags of stuff, and I'm like,
I have no idea.
No idea. The next thing I know, we're making the head and stuff, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm used to the making clay things. Then suddenly there's like wire and this other stuff, and I'm like, and I suddenly get these images. I'm like, oh, okay, right, yeah. Now I understand what all the other stuff that you sent was. But yeah, it's things like that. And if you do watch the unboxing ones, they're not very educational as far as actual education. But for people getting to see me and the reactions to just what it's like to live with this disorder when you do get random stuff through the mail because your alters buy stuff, it's quite an interesting one because it always happens if we're a bit stressed, and we had a bit of a stressful couple of weeks, so Luna went shopping for everyone.
Well, because there's the one that before where she bought you the mug.
Yes, that's up here still because I haven't used it yet. Cheered me up with
but yeah, Luna does like to go shopping to cheer people up.
Yeah, which is fine if she had her own money.
It's technically a combination of yours and Danielle's.
Yeah, so I do discuss in that video about potentially like starting to sell some stuff so Luna has pocket money, so when she spends it, it's hers and not mine.
The thing is you know, you're making this stuff, and you know, honestly, if you're watching this and you haven't checked out Danny's Twitter, go and look at her dragons. They are amazing, and I want one of those really cute wizard ones.
You'll want this one once he's finished painting. Oh, sorry, Nicole. I'll try not to kill the camera. So this is the one that accidentally got burnt when he was in the oven. So now he looks like a wizard that rolled a 1. Like he's just like completely just burnt a bit now. So.
Oh, they're so cute. Honestly, you know, I think you could I think you could start selling them. They're really cute and people would buy them.
Yeah, maybe we'll open an Etsy shop when we get brave enough.
Okay. Well, you know,
to see if people want to.
Let Danny know if you want to buy her cute dragons, because I do, and if you all do, then I can buy her cute dragons. So you know, think about me, internet. Yeah. On that note, because we've just talked about Danielle.
Yeah.
Before we wrap this up, do you want to have you had any thoughts about what Danielle would be?
I have absolutely no idea. I would assume, because Danielle she's the work mode me. So she is the clinical animal behavior. She's the one with the master's degree and is very academic and scientific and very professional and proper. So the only thing I can think of is like a high noble elf type thing.
Yeah, I mean,
it was like a D&D snob.
Yeah, I was thinking that the ideas I'm starting to think about are something like they said a high noble elf, definitely a high noble rather than like a wood elf.
Yeah.
Possibly like a wizard, but because there's some interesting ones like alchemists.
Wizard could be, because she is very academic in that sense.
Yeah, because obviously that's the whole point of wizards, that their magic is not an inherent or a divine, it's a learnt and studied. And there's the alchemist class, and there's the I think it's invention class, which is again basically more like they're slightly mad scientists when it comes to magic. That's how I think about them. They basically can kind of, so they're able to perform magic that because they've understood and learned so much about magic, they can perform magic that isn't actually their prepared list. So they've kind of got a bit more of an understanding of what magic is. So I was thinking something like that, because I'm thinking, like, obviously when you said the sciencey, I was thinking alchemists could work quite well as well.
Yeah, well, I think not fully enough. So there's a dog barking out the front. And
it must be told.
Must be told. He's not woofed yet though, so that's good. But I think because often with Danielle, she mixes the science with like the art and skill of dog training. So everything is very much mix and match to create what's best for the dog she's dealing with. So that engineering sort of side to the magic, where it's I know enough about this that I can come up with something suddenly, I think would really suit her.
Yeah. Although the other thing I just summed up, and it may have been the phrasing you just used when you said the art and science.
Okay.
Made me think a little bit Sherlock Holmesy.
Okay, yes.
And then I was thinking then there's the rogue inquisitor, I think, which is all about being overtly like perceptive, being able to kind of walk into a room and see everything.
Yeah.
I think it's I think inquisitive or mastermind. Hang on. I just need to check. I mean, the internet probably knows right now. Well, they don't know right now because they're not here. They'll see this in a few weeks. But in a few weeks' time, I'll actually look this up. They are. But the thing is I've already looked this up, internet. This has already happened. Yes, mastermind. Your focus is on people and the influence and secrets they have. Okay. So you're master of intrigue. You can mimic speech patterns and accents. Insightful manipulator, misdirection. There is the other one actually.
That might be good for like the counselor side of things that she does. Is it's all very much getting people on your side as fast as possible so you can help them.
Or there's inquisitive and archetypal inquisitive. You excel at rooting out secrets and unraveling mysteries. Ooh. You rely on your sharp eye for detail, but you also on your finely honed ability to read the words and deeds of other creatures to determine their true intent. You excel at defeating creatures that hide amongst the prey, hide among and prey on ordinary folk. And your mastery of law and your keen deduction makes you well equipped to expose and end hidden evils. So you
as an animal behaviorist is she's essentially like a counsellor for people that have problems with their dogs. So within a 2-hour consultation, she has to basically investigate what's going on, diagnose the problem, find out if what she's being told is the truth and that everyone's stories are lining up with each other and what the dog's behavior is telling her. So it is very much insight checks.
Yeah, so
ultimately,
though she is quite a science person, because obviously we've talked before about the fact that Danielle has a very strong understanding of the science behind dog behaviourists.
Yeah.
And the impression I get both from you and talking to Cole is
base it a lot on Cole as well, because
well, I was going to say Danielle, I get the impression is a beast when it comes to knowing the industry and the science. Like that
she's like the Credible Hulk. If you try and like correct her on something, it's like she will nail you with like references and like journals and
trust me, Cole is amazing and brilliant and intelligent, and when I asked her, she was just like, oh god, Danielle, just even Cole's like, she is just on so yeah, I'm thinking, although she's got that science understanding and knowledge and learning, I think there is this element that the skills she uses a lot are that sort of, and you could still have, because you probably, for insight, you need to have high intelligence anyway for being able to because that's an investigation. Investigation is intelligence, so you'd want something high in that anyway. So she can be intelligent and very learned, but I'm getting a bit of a Sherlocky vibe here now.
That's a really nice, because she would be very much more detective-y, because it's like if something had happened, she wouldn't be the one to run in. She's the one to kind of stand there and observe, look around. What do we know? What could it be? And she would ask multiples of questions before coming to a conclusion. You know, whereas someone like Luna would just be like, oh, look, it's this. And she'd be like, nope, wait. And it would be very much, she'd be the one that she suss things out, and it would be more of a Sherlock sort of vibe that she'll be giving off. I like that.
I think, because the thing is obviously people always think about rogues having to be, you know, dexterous for stealth checks and stuff, but you don't have to. You can have, I mean, I've got a friend who does enjoy playing his slightly clumsy rogue. He's really he still succeeds. He's still got, but it's kind of more that rather than kind of disarming the trap, he trips it up and disarms it, kind of thing. So you know. So you don't have to have. So yeah, I think you know that's a possibility.
I think that'd be a better one than because I like the idea of a wizard, because she is very much. But I think as far as actually playing, the more investigative role, that would be more of that of the roguish.
Yeah, because I think, like you said, what she would do during. Because it's also thinking about if we're turning this into a game at a later date, what they would most likely come out when their skills would be needed, and also probably when.
And I think she would be more likely to come out. Whenever we're role playing, she would be more of the one to, rather than go in there and start casting spells and battling and stuff, she'd be more into the role play side of it. As to let's find out what's going on here. Let's quiz, the random NPC that you pointed out. She'd be asking who else is in the area. I want to talk to everyone.
Yeah.
And she'd drive the DM nuts.
Very much does sound like a rogue. I mean, you could do that with a wizard as well, but obviously a rogue, you're probably going to put something quite high in your persuasion-based charisma stuff.
Oh, I like the sounds of this one.
Okay.
We should do that. Let's have a rogue elf. So I think either human. She could just be human.
Yeah. Sort of.
But she's
no nonsense.
Yeah. No, I think I think Noble would suit her better because of the academic part of her. Because she does like to roll in crowds of.
Yeah. And that still feeds into the learned by being noble, but she's just honed these very good skills at deduction.
Yeah, she could, like, her backstory, she could potentially be from a family or an area that have a lot of wizards, so she's very academic and learned, but her skills are in a different area. So we can come up with that anyway. But
cool. Okay. Do you want to roll stats, or did you want to leave that for
No, I'm good, because Danielle's not one that will come out unless I have a textbook. And you start asking me questions about dogs or throw some science at me, and she'll be around really quickly. But yeah, for games and stuff, she's got better things to do in her.
So basically, I need to have like a bit where there's a dog in the game and that needs some attending to.
Yeah, we need a dog's gone.
Better not do to Danielle what was done to Cole in the game.
What did you do to Cole?
So inadvertently, my sister did one shot. It was brilliant. It was a horror one shot. It was awesome. And she did such a good job. It was her first one, but it basically turned out that we were thinking that we were in horror, but we were actually going on a mad rampage and just murdering the town. And then discovering sort of clues. It was kind of a bit of a Silent Hill-esque one shot.
Okay.
But yeah, there was what we thought was a terrible beast, and it was a dog. Cole was the one.
I bet she was traumatized.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But the thing is, it's like when you do D&D, you kind of like when you do like DM and you create the game, you're like, well, I'll just put these things here. They don't have to investigate. They don't have to fight. They don't have to blast it. Oh no, the dog behaviorist, because she's a warlock, blasts the thing. So yeah, won't do that to Danielle.
No, by all means, have some kind of animal. I mean, as a rogue, she could have pick animal handling or something as a skill, and that could be a thing for. We can
get Danielle to come out in the game.
Yeah, we need some sciencey, something science based or something psychology based, and yeah, we'll have it. So I have 4 dice.
Yay, 4 dice this time. So all right,
4 dice this time. I found my missing one.
Yay.
My purple and pink one.
Pretty.
Well, they're all pretty, to be fair. They're dice. So.
Dice are pretty.
Yeah.
All right, do you want to roll the first 4?
There is a 5, 5, 4, 2. Not a bad first roll.
Nice. Good first roll.
I don't need to re-roll a 1, do I?
No.
Because I've got my 4. Oh, nice. 6, 4, 4, 2.
6, 4, 4, 6.
Ah. 1, 1, 1, 3. Well, that balanced out nicely, didn't it?
Yeah, okay.
That's my dump one. 5, 3, 3, 2.
Okay.
6, 4, 4, 5.
Nice. So 1 more, I believe.
1 more. 3, 3, 1, 1.
Okay, cool. Got some very good stats there.
Some decent ones. I'm okay with those.
Okay, so we've done the questions. Yep. We've done Danielle, or we've started Danielle. So we now have Luna, who is a half unicorn bard.
Oh.
We have Anita, who is a fallen Asimir gunslinger.
That's quite.
I could just see, it was when she was talking, and I was like, do you know what, I can see you in a long duster coat.
Yeah.
Dolls. Yeah, just.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have Danielle.
Black jeans, red shirt.
Yeah. I can imagine that she's also, because when we talk about it, we talk about how I don't know if she got the reference, but because she talked about the fact that she would more likely talk about the situation before having to do it, whereas Sonia was more physical.
Yeah.
But Anita will if she has to.
Yeah.
And I thought, as soon as she was saying that, I had an image of Percy from Critical Role in my head.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I was like, gunslinger.
Yeah.
Because Percy. And she just kind of looked at me and was like, yeah, gunslinger's a really good idea. And I was like, I don't think you got the Percy reference.
No, she knows Critical Role,
But she's not.
But she's not as into it for like the story and things, and it's not really dark enough for her. She prefers World of Darkness type stuff, or Dark Heresy.
But I just thought that kind of, yes, that she would use the guns, but she'd more try and talk her way out of the situation. And she's quite clever, so at doing that. So yes, we've got Luna, Anita, and Danielle, who is a elf high noble. Rogue. Inquisitive even. Inquisitive.
I like that.
So there we go. We've got the first three.
That's good. So next time we'll either be doing Scarlet, who will be your chance to possibly meet a former persecutor alter. So when people talk about having a bad alter, they're usually persecutors, and they're the ones where they try and get themselves out of difficult situations by doing something not bad but difficult. So whereas if we're threatened, Anita would calm the situation down and walk away. Scarlet would be angry and threaten the situation, or she'll cause an argument so they can discuss a certain topic rather than just talking about it. So you'll get to meet her. As a nickname, we tend to follow Scarlet Bitch. And then Faith is wonderful. She's one of the internal caregivers. She's one of the longest alters. Whenever I think of Faith, if you kind of imagine like an old shamanic lady,
okay,
that's kind of Faith. I get the vision of, have you seen Brother Bear?
I don't know.
For those of you that have seen Brother Bear, there's an old shamanic lady in that. That's kind of the impression that we have for Faith.
Okay.
So
I'm going to look up for next time or for the time after.
Faith, I'm thinking, will most likely be Druid. Scarlet, probably Tiefling. But we'll see. Actually, Drow. No, that'd be a bit mean.
But we'll see. Maybe she'll come out and tell us what she wants to be.
Yeah. And then potentially we can do mine. And we can see what I would want to be. If I was in
start thinking about that
world. I'm just creating a character for myself for a new campaign. And I was like, should I do that one? But I'm being a tabaxi, which isn't really me. I'm changing it up. I'm usually an elf ranger.
But is an elf ranger what you are or what you like to be? And we will find out.
Find out in another episode.
One of the things I want to say before we say goodbye, we have seen the comments on YouTube, and yes, totally, Luna is the most adorable being and the most adorable newbie. You are right. Those of you who've come along and just left us a message to say that it's really been really interesting or really fascinating, thank you. For the person who reached out to us on Twitter, who was a fictive themselves, genuinely, thank you for letting us know your experience. That meant so much.
It really.
Yeah. And the fact that, if people feel comfortable to reach out, let us know. We will only give out a name or anything if you say you're okay with it. Otherwise, we'll just refer to you as an anonymous person. And we will never give too much details away. But please, if you're watching it and you've had something that has inspired you from this, you've thought about, or, you've suddenly gone, oh my God, I found something that makes sense for me, or if you've got questions, always, but we just want to say
ask us any question.
Yeah.
Which we might not always answer them depending if they're appropriate, but ask.
And obviously, if there's things you want to know about us as people, I'm sure, if you want to know which our favourite, critical role character is, it's probably quite easy. Mine's Yasha. Some days, Jester, other days, it depends. And I'm sure yeah. That's because she's an elf ranger.
And she's got trinket.
But that would be really interesting to find out if the rest all knew critical role. We need to find something that all of them know, and then I'll find what their favourite one is, because I reckon it would be different for every person.
It will be different from everyone.
Yeah.
It would be like, who are you in Friends? All of them.
All of them, depending who I am that day.
Yes.
But yeah, we just want to say we do see your messages and read them, and we love getting messages.
We appreciate them. Thank you very much.
Okay, so